Walk into any Honda dealer and look past the front row. Back corner, under a film of dust, a brand new bike with 100 miles on it that's been sitting since last spring. Today we're walking that back lot. 7 Honda's dealers can't give away in 2026, and the last one will surprise you most. Honda Fury. You walk in looking for a cruiser, and tucked in the corner under a film of dust is a long, low, chrome-dripping chopper with a front wheel that looks like it's in a different zip code than the rest of the bike. Brand new, 100 miles on it, sitting. Since the last model year. That's the Fury, and the salesman's face when you ask about it tells you everything. That little shrug, yeah, we've had that one a while. The Fury runs a 1312 cubic centimeter V-twin pushing somewhere around 57 horsepower and a fat 79 pound-feet of torque. And honestly, on the road, it's lovely. That low-end grunt means you twist the throttle at a stoplight and it just leans forward. No drama, no downshift hunting. Shaft drive means no chain to oil. The 26.7-inch seat puts your boots flat on the pavement, which makes a tall, intimidating-looking bike weirdly easy to live with. So, why won't it move at around $11,800? Because the factory chopper moment is over. It ended years ago and Honda kept building this thing anyway. The buyer who wanted a raked-out chrome chopper bought one in 2011. Today's cruiser shopper walks past the Fury and straight to a Rebel 1100 or a Royal Enfield Super Meteor. Bikes that actually fit a 35-year-old's idea of cool. The Fury looks like a poster from a bygone era. Here's the real downside nobody warns you about. That long rake looks incredible and steers like a shopping cart full of bricks. Tight parking lots, U-turns, anything slow. You're fighting it. It's a highway cruiser pretending to be a custom, and around town that fantasy gets heavy fast. Would I buy one? If I'm being straight with you, no. But I'll say this. If you find a leftover with a fat discount and you genuinely don't care what anyone thinks, you're getting a dead reliable Honda chopper for chopper-curious money. It's the one bike here I respect for refusing to die. The market killed it. Honda just hasn't told it yet. And speaking of bikes built for a world that moved on and knows we am, the next one used to be the king of the showroom. Honda CBR600RR. 10 years ago, this was the bike every 22-year-old taped to their bedroom wall. The 600 Supersport. Track-bred, screaming inline 4. The bike that made you feel like a MotoGP rider on the on-ramp. Now it's the bike dealers can't unload above $12,000, and the reason is brutal. The entire 600cc Supersport class collapsed. Just collapsed. The riders who once bought these graduated to leader bikes or got scared off by insurance quotes that read like a car payment. New riders? They took one look at a committed, wrists-forward, knife-edge race replica and bought a naked bike or an adventure bike instead, something they could actually ride to work without their lower back filing a complaint. That 599cc 4 still sings to about 15,000 RPM, and it is a genuinely sublime engine up top. But here's the thing real owners will tell you on any forum, it does almost nothing below 7,000 revolutions per minute. In stop-and-go traffic, this thing is a grumpy, hot, uncomfortable mess. It only comes alive at speeds that'll lose you your license. That's not a commuter. That's a track toy with a license plate. Compare it to a Yamaha MT-07 or even Honda's own CB600R. Same money, way more usable real-world torque. None of the chiropractor bills. That's the comparison that's killing the CBR600RR on the floor. Why suffer the riding position for a peaky engine you can only enjoy on a closed course? Quick gut check. Be honest in the comments. Would you actually commute on a 600 Supersport? Most people who say yes have never done a 40-minute crawl on one. The dealer's problem is even simpler than the riding position. The used market is flooded. There are clean, low-mile used 600s everywhere for half the price of a new one, because everybody who bought into the Supersport dream is trying to get out. A new one at full sticker makes no sense to anyone doing the math. If you love the howl of an inline 4 and you've got track days circled on your calendar, it's a weapon. For literally any other use, it's the wrong tool, and the sales numbers know it. If you're enjoying the breakdown so far, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel more than you'd think. Now let's talk about the most expensive paperweight on the lot, Honda Goldwing. 600 plus pounds of dust, actually closer to 800. Let me explain how a motorcycle this good ends up this hard to sell. The Goldwing is objectively one of the finest touring machines ever built. The flat six is smooth as warm honey. The wind protection is so complete you can ride through weather that grounds other bikes. It's got a reverse gear, heated everything, a sound system, and on a 600-mile day it'll leave you fresher than your car would. I'm not knocking the engineering. The engineering is a love letter. The problem is the math and the mirror. A new Goldwing starts around $25,000 and a loaded tour model sails right past $32,000. At that number, you're not cross-shopping motorcycles anymore. You're cross-shopping a used pickup truck. And the buyer who can write that check is, statistically, getting older every single year. The classic Goldwing owner is in their 60s. The pipeline of younger riders stepping up to an 800-pound luxury tourer has slowed to a trickle. Here's what changed. The touring rider who used to default to a wing now looks at an adventure bike, an Africa Twin, a BMW GS, and thinks, I can tour on that and ride a dirt road, and it weighs 300 pounds less, and it doesn't terrify me at a stoplight. The ADV segment ate the touring segment's lunch. The wing got caught flat-footed, and that weight is the genuine deal-breaker on the floor. Test riders love the Goldwing rolling. They get nervous backing it out of a parking spot. Drop it once in your driveway and you're calling a friend. There's no picking that up alone over 50. That single fact ends more sales than any spec sheet ever could. Ask anyone who actually owns one and they'll tell you it's the best bike they've ever had and the last one they'll ever buy. That second part is exactly the problem. It's a masterpiece for a customer who's slowly aging out, priced for a buyer who's increasingly choosing something else. Dealers love showing it off, they hate watching it sit. But here's where the list takes a turn, because the next bike isn't too expensive or too old school. Honda literally cut the price on it for 2026 and it still won't sell. Honda CB300R. Let's lead with the most damning fact on this entire list. For 2026, Honda reduced the price of the CB300R by $650 and changed literally nothing else. Same engine, same brakes, same bike, just cheaper, landing at right around $4,500. When a manufacturer does that, they're not being generous. They're trying to clear inventory that wasn't moving at the old number. Which is a shame because as a machine, it's terrific. The 286 cubic centimeter single is a peppy, free-revving little thing, the kind of engine that makes a 30 miles per hour back road genuinely fun in a way a big bike never can be at legal speeds. It's light, it's flickable, it's the perfect first bike, and the styling punches way above its price. On paper, this should fly off the floor, so why doesn't it? Two reasons, and they're squeezing it from both sides. Below it, Honda's own Rebel 300 and Rebel 500 exist. And new American riders overwhelmingly want a cruiser stance, not a naked standard. The Rebel looks like what a beginner pictures when they imagine my first motorcycle. The CB300R, as good as it is, looks like a gym bike to that same shopper. Above it, there's the used market. For CB300R money, you can buy a clean used 500 or even a 650 with a few thousand miles on it. New riders who do 5 minutes of research talk themselves right into more bike for the same cash. The single cylinder's real weakness, it runs out of breath on the highway above 70, only pushes them harder towards something bigger. I genuinely like this bike. If a friend wanted one machine to learn on, keep, and not outgrow in 6 months, I'd point them here over a Rebel every time. But the reviewer's pick and what actually sells are two different things, round sad. And the price tag Honda just stapled on it tells you which side of that gap the CB300R is sitting on. Honda Super Cub C125. Here's something most reviewers won't tell you. The single most produced motor vehicle in human history, over 100 million built, can't get arrested on an American showroom floor. The Super Cub is a legend. It put the world on two wheels. That step-through frame, the automatic clutch, the 60-plus miles per gallon, the bomb-proof little 125 cubic centimeters engine that runs forever on a thimble of fuel. In Vietnam or Thailand, it's transportation for the entire planet. It's charming, it's iconic, it's the kind of thing design museums put behind glass. And in the United States, at roughly $3,900, it's a tough sell. Because that charming is doing a lot of heavy lifting against practical. Let me put it bluntly, $3,900 buys you a 125cc bike that tops out around 55 mph and is genuinely sketchy on anything resembling a highway. For nearly the same money, a buyer can grab a Honda Grom that's just as cute and far more of a hooligan toy, or a used 300 that can actually keep up with American traffic. That's the killer. American roads are built around 45 to 70 miles per hour traffic, and the Super Cub lives below that. It's a city scooter that costs motorcycle money, aimed at a country that mostly doesn't have the dense, slow urban riding it was born for. A buddy of mine bought one purely because he loved the look. He adored it, for about 3 weeks until the first time he needed to merge onto a 55 mph road and felt every car behind him. The flaw isn't quality. Quality is the one thing this bike has in unlimited supply. The flaw is the mismatch between a brilliant machine and a market that has no real job for it. Dealers stock one as a conversation piece. It mostly stays a conversation piece. Subscribe if you want more honest motorcycle takes like this. No spec sheet fluff, just the stuff dealers won't say out loud. 2 more to go, and the next one is another bike Honda cut the price on and still can't move. Honda CBR500R. Same story as the CB300R, bigger price cut. For 2026, Honda knocked a full $1,000 off the CBR500R, dropping it to around $6,400. $1,000 on a bike that was already supposed to be the sensible middleweight value play. That's not a discount. That's an alarm bell. On its own terms, the CBR500R is a thoroughly good motorcycle. The 471cc parallel twin makes its power low and friendly, so unlike that screaming 600 we talked about earlier, this one's actually pleasant in traffic and around town. Full fairing, comfortable enough lean, real wind protection on the highway. It's a fared sport bike you can genuinely use every day without resenting it. For a new rider who wants the look of a sport bike without the wrist-snapping commitment, it makes a lot of sense. So what's strangling it? Taste moved. The whole market swung toward naked bikes and adventure machines, and full-fairing middleweights fell out of fashion. Honda's own CB500 Hornet, the naked version of basically this same bike, is the more stylish, more modern-looking pick, and it costs less. When your own cheaper sibling is also the more desirable one, you've got a showroom problem. Then there's the eternal middleweight trap. At $6,400 new, the buyer who wants performance looks at used 600s and 650s, faster, cheaper, everywhere. The buyer who wants a beginner bike looks down at the cheaper 300s and 400s. The CBR500R sits in the squeezed middle, not the cheapest, not the fastest, just reasonable. And reasonable is the hardest thing in the world to sell to someone shopping with their heart. It's the sensible choice on a showroom floor full of emotional purchases. People don't finance a motorcycle to be sensible. Honda cutting $1,000 off the price is them admitting exactly that. Which brings us to the last one. And this is the bike that frustrates me most because there's nothing actually wrong with it. Honda NX500. This is the one that almost didn't make the list, and then I looked at how long they sit on lots and realized it absolutely belongs here. The NX500 is a middleweight adventure-styled bike, same friendly 471 cubic centimeters twin from the CBR500R, wrapped in an upright go-anywhere. Tall bars package priced around $7,000 after Honda trimmed another $500 off it for 2026. On paper, it's the perfect modern motorcycle. Comfortable, efficient, capable of light dirt, easy to ride, cheap to run. It should be everyone's one-bike answer. It's also a textbook tweener, and tweeners die slow deaths on showroom floors. Here's the trap it's caught in. A rider on a real budget who wants adventure capability buys a used Kawasaki KLR 650 or a Versys. Proven, cheaper, more torque. A rider who genuinely wants to go off-road buys a Honda CRF 300L and laughs at the NX500's road-biased setup and modest ground clearance. And the rider who wants a serious do-it-all adventure machine? They save a bit longer and buy Honda's own Transalp or Africa Twin, the bikes with the real off-road chops and the badge people actually brag about. The NX500 is nobody's first choice. It's the bike you end up on after talking yourself out of 3 more exciting ones. That's a deadly place to be in a segment driven entirely by adventure fantasy and Instagram posts of bikes parked on mountain switchbacks. Nobody fantasizes about a sensible road-biased middleweight ADV, and the genuine flaw seals it. It's tall and adventure-styled, but only mildly capable in the dirt, so it's too compromised for serious off-roaders and not exciting enough to win the daydreamers. Real owners, to be fair, love them, quietly, reliably, racking up easy miles and great fuel economy. But the people who own it love it. Doesn't help a dealer staring at one that's been on the floor since spring. It's the most rational motorcycle on this entire list. And in a business that runs on desire, being the most rational is sometimes the worst place to be. Funny thing about this list, the bikes that won't sell are often better than the ones that do. People buy with their hearts, not spec sheets, and these 7 just don't make hearts race anymore. That's exactly why they're bargains. If it were my garage and my cash, I'd grab the discounted CB300R and not look back. But honestly, I get the temptation of that leftover fury too. So here's my question for you. Which of these 7 is secretly the smartest buy on the lot? Tell me in the comments and make your case. And if this is the kind of no-nonsense breakdown you want more of, subscribe. There's a worth every dollar list coming your way.